I am in Washington State, outside of Seattle. I'm going to interview a supporter of Donald Trump. Have you voted at these presidential elections?
Yes.
Whom did you vote for and why?
I voted for Trump. Two main reasons. First is he believes in supporting conservative values, and I'm a conservative. The other candidate does not support conservative values. Second reason is his accomplishments. Most people don't know about his accomplishments, but I actually found a list of 53 of his accomplishments during the last 4 years.
What do you like the best about 4 last years of Trump's presidency?
So number one for me is he persuaded Kim Jong-un of North Korea to stop testing nuclear bombs. And I think that's a very valuable and important contribution to world peace. Because if he had continued to do that, eventually I think there would have been a big problem in Asia, especially with Japan. Another one, he has created a lot of tax cuts for American businesses and families, and those tax cuts will amount to over $1 trillion. $1 trillion less taxes Americans will pay over the next 10 years or so. The Veterans Administration, they take care of veterans, and it's historically had a lot of problems. They have long waiting lists, and oftentimes veterans have to wait so long on these waiting lists that they end up dying before they get the medical help they need. So he reformed the Veterans Administration, and one of the big points of that is that doctors who were not good doctors were fired. He fired over 4,000 doctors that were basically incompetent, and that saved lives. There's what's called the First Step Act. Many people are in prison because there's a minimum sentence requirement, like 10 years for drug possession. That results in more black Americans serving long prison sentences than white. That's very unfair. So the First Step Act allowed a lot of those people to get out of prison, and that benefited a lot of people, especially African Americans. That's a good accomplishment. The poverty rate in this country is now the lowest it's been in 17 years, because people are getting back to work because of the good economy. ISIS is gone. Well, the caliphate is gone, but ISIS is basically 99% destroyed. It's something Obama didn't do. African American unemployment is at an all-time low it's ever been. Hispanic American unemployment, the lowest in history. Asian American unemployment, the lowest in history. Women's unemployment rate, the lowest in 65 years. Youth unemployment, the lowest it's been in 50 years. And one of my other favorites is the U.S. stock market. Made many record highs, which is good for people that have 401k retirement plans.
Can you say one good thing about Biden and one bad thing about Trump?
No, I cannot say anything good about Biden, but to make up for that, I'll say 2 bad things about Trump. Is that fair? Okay. First are his tweets. I think he tweets without thinking a lot of times. So he ends up saying things that he actually should not have said. Second bad point is his personal life is not so great, especially in his previous marriages and things that married people should not do.
Do you think this presidential election was rigged, and why do you think so?
Yes. Unfortunately, there is a history of fraud in American elections. For example, in the last 10 years, there have been about 1,000 convictions of people committing election fraud. So election fraud is real. Another example is, I think it was in Pennsylvania, something like 4,000 votes were received from dead people. Obviously, dead people can't vote, so that's fraud right there. Another example, I'm not sure what state, but something like 1.2 million votes were mailed out, 1.4 million came back. 300,000 more came back than were mailed. Election fraud.
Do you think Trump supporters will go out for protests if Biden is declared president?
Well, like any group of supporters, it's a spectrum from the crazies to the people who don't really care. So in that spectrum, yes, the fanatics, I think, will go out and protest and do whatever, but people in the middle and the ones that don't care so much will probably not do anything. They'll just get depressed.
What's going to happen with America if Biden will become its president?
I think our country will suffer a lot, but we will survive. The reason I think that is I believe that Biden will make a lot of bad decisions. I think he's very easily influenced by the more radical Democrats and liberals, and he also has a reputation of being very corrupt. So many times politicians will make decisions that are not in the best interest of the country, but will benefit themselves and their friends financially or some other reason. Okay, so one other comment I would like to make is that America is a democracy. In order for a democracy to function, voters need to be educated. The reason they need to be educated is so they can understand the issues and the politicians that are running for election. If they are ignorant or uneducated, then what happens is the wrong people are elected to power and bad laws can be passed. The founding fathers of this country placed a high value on the educational system and schools. The original purpose of the school system in this country was to educate citizens so they could vote correctly. So I think that in large part the educational system in this country has failed to do that, because a lot of our educational institutions are very left-leaning and very liberal. That results in the students getting a very biased education, which then is reflected in how they vote.